I had no expectations going into this film because I have never played the video games, okay? I feel like it's important for me to say that now. I have not played the video games. I don't know pretty much anything about them. I don't have a PlayStation is the main reason why. I've been told I'd really like the video games. I just don't have a PlayStation, so I cannot play them. If I ever do get a PlayStation, which I'm sure I will play them. I'm sure I will. But I went into this movie just hoping it was just going to be fun. That's really all I was hoping to get out of it, and I at least did get that. Uncharted was released in 2022. It was written by Rafe Judkins and Art Markham and Matt Holloway, and directed by Ruben Fleischer. Now, no spoilers, but the general idea is it follows Nathan Drake, who has a brother who is missing. He's lost. He's gone. And he's basically just looking for his brother because his brother and him had this huge thing where they wanted to go out and find this treasure and be billionaires. But then, due to unforeseen, sad circumstances, Sam just kind of left. And he's been looking for the treasure ever since, but without Sam, it's been difficult. So when Sully comes into his life, he kind of finds a substitute for Sam, albeit not a very good one, and they go together on this journey to find the hidden jewels of Magellan, or whatever. Where do I want to start? I should start with the action. I think I'm going to start with the action. The action in this movie is pretty darn good. There's a lot of action sequences where I was, like, actually on the edge of my seat, like, whoa, that was really cool. I didn't expect that to happen. Whoa, that was really cool. A lot of it's parkour, which, you know, Tom Holland being Tom Holland, he's able to do these kind of things. He's able to do almost all these stunts, it looks like. So that was really cool. And even the stunts that, like, you're obviously like, well, he's obviously not hanging from a freaking airplane. It looks like it. Like, the CG in this movie is really freaking good. I wouldn't even be surprised if it got nominated for an Oscar for it, for Best Visual Effects, although Doctor Strange 2 is coming out, and I'm sure that's going to blow everything to proportions. But this is a beautiful movie. I mean, you can't tell me it's not. It is stunning. Every visual is, well, there's one visual where they've landed the plane, they're out of the plane, and it just looks awful. I was sitting next to my boss, and I was like, that is the fakest looking background I have ever seen. But every other shot in this movie is awesome. I mean, it's beautiful, it's pretty, it really is a visual, stunning story. Which brings me to my next thought, which is, if you have no clue what the hell is going on story-wise, it does not matter. I was able to follow along, but I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? You don't even have to, like, have the audio on for this movie. That's how easy it is to watch this movie, which is kind of a negative, maybe? I haven't decided whether I like that or I don't like it. It does treat the audience like they're stupid, and I don't like movies that do that. It's just a fact. It's like, hey, we know that you guys came here to see this because you wanted to see Uncharted, but we're gonna, like, just push you through this story and tell you everything you need to know at every convenient moment, and it's really frustrating. Like, there's a whole side story with Nathan's brother, and you don't find out until halfway the film what, like, maybe happens, and it's like, ugh, that's really frustrating. It's like the only thing where they're, like, holding back on because they want to see this huge reveal, and then when they reveal it, it's not even that big of a thing. I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. So that was kind of frustrating. In terms of performances, I think Tom Holland was good. Tom Holland is complicated for me because he always chooses to do these big blockbuster things like, you know, Spider-Man and Uncharted, but he really does excel when he does smaller films, like when he did The Devil All the Time and Cherry, albeit Cherry was not a very good movie. His performance was really good in that film, and I feel like he should start to go down the Robert Pattinson route and just kind of start doing some low-key stuff before going back to Spider-Man, if he goes back to Spider-Man. As much as I'd love to see him back as Spider-Man, maybe he shouldn't. For him, at this point in his career, it would be a bad idea to go back to Spider-Man. As much as I want it, as much as the whole world wants it, thinking of his career alone, he shouldn't do it. He also should not probably do a sequel to Uncharted. I think he will. It does kind of set up a sequel. I do think it's going to become a franchise. But for his career, I think it might be best if he steps back from these kind of things and starts to explore, you know, actual acting. Not saying that this movie is less cinematic than other movies and less cinema art house, because, I mean, it kind of is, but not saying that. I'm just saying that he chooses characters that are well-known and relatively easy to play. There's almost no emotional, like, connectiveness in this movie with Tom Holland. There's a couple parts where he cries, and he's got these like relationship with his brother, but beyond that, it's just action sequences of him going, "Oh crap!" and "Oh god!" Like, it's really like, pretty much all he has to do. Which brings me to, it kind of feels like Spider-Man. There are many moments in this film where I was like, there's no way a human being can fall through the sky and just grab onto somebody out of nowhere and then be safe. Like, as cool as it is, this movie kind of feels like it's trying to ground itself in reality, and it doesn't work. I've heard there's zombies in the game. I was hoping for some zombies. If we could just prove that this isn't necessarily a real thing that could actually happen, I feel like I could excuse some of the things that happen in this film. But because it treats itself like a serious movie that is grounded in reality, when he's flying through the air and he's, grabbing stuff, I'm like, wow, that's just like Spider-Man. And that's kind of a problem. It's a slight negative. As for Mark Wahlberg, I don't hate Mark Wahlberg in the movie. I think he does a fine job portraying Sully as I know Sully, which is just kind of an asshole. I don't know what he's like in the game, but that's just how he portrayed himself in the thing. And I think Mark Wahlberg was good at portraying that. I just did not like Sully. And it's not because of Mark Wahlberg's performance, I think. It's just because the writing was bad. It's every 2 seconds he's flipping. He's just like, He's trying to pull up this grate on the floor for no reason. And I'm like, why? Like, the writing for Sully was really bad until the ending when it got a little worse, I think, when he kind of gets rid of all of his principles. And I'm like, I feel like it would have been cooler if he just kind of, ditched his principles right there, and I don't know, whatever. It was a little unfortunate. The ending is a little rocky, a little shaky. It doesn't end at a very good moment. It's kind of frustrating, actually. The payoff in this film is like, there is none. There's no payoff. It just kind of ends, and you're like, oh, okay. I will say that there's 2 end credit scenes. I would say there's 1 end credit scene. There's one scene that takes place after the title card, and then there's credits, and then there's a scene, and there's more credits and nothing else. I would say there's 1 post-credit scene. Some people say there's 2. Whatever. There's 2, I guess. And they're fine. They set up a sequel. Whether or not we actually get a sequel, I don't know. I don't even particularly care. I know Mark Wahlberg has publicly stated that he's only signed on for 1 movie, so I assume, if this movie does well enough, Mark Wahlberg will sign up for another. I honestly don't think it's going to do well enough to warrant a sequel, but it's Sony, so it wouldn't surprise me. I'm not even sure if Tom Holland would want to do a sequel, but we'll see. But overall, I got what I wanted out of the film. It's fun. Like, I'm sitting here, I'm laughing, there's a couple great jokes, there's a lot of action sequences that make me literally go, whoa! And then, the story's kind of rough and rigid and kind of uninteresting and very generic. It doesn't really feel like an Uncharted film. It feels like a knockoff, like, National Treasure movie. And I'm just like, okay, that's fine. I got what I wanted. I had some fun. I don't think it's as bad as some people are saying it is, but that's just because I'm unbiased. I have no relation to the video game. So, I don't know. If you're looking for a fun movie to watch and that has really stunning visuals, the only lack really is just some character issues and generic plot, this is for you. I'm going to go ahead and give Uncharted a B+. Have you guys seen Uncharted? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought about it. If you're a diehard video game fan, what did you think of the movie? Like, is it as bad as people are saying? Don't trash my opinion because of it, but just, as somebody who has played the video games, what do you think? Was it truthful enough to the story to make it kind of work, or is it not at all truthful and you wish it didn't exist? Let me know in the comments down below. And please consider subscribing if you like what you saw in the video. It really helps me out a whole lot. I would truly, truly appreciate it, so please consider doing so. And as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.